Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. Playing some Frontier Pyromancer's Goggles. Oh, okay, so I had an awesome replay to show for the Frontier Goggles. Unfortunately, the file was corrupted, and therefore I'm going to try to get some games going in the Frontier. So anyway, just played against a deck that was running Dig Through Time ×4. With this deck, I was able to basically grind out 3 times Dig Through Times, 2 Nahiris, 1 Ugin, and 2 Ulamogs all in the same game. And I won with 2 cards left in my deck because of the Ulamog exiling my library. But it was a pretty epic game. Wanted to show it, but of course, as with every good game on MTGO, the file was corrupt. So, anywho, let's play some actual games here with the Frontier Goggles. And you can see what a kind of... This is the way I like Magic. A lot of back and forth, a lot of cat and mouse is what I like to call it, where you have to outplay your opponent. You have to bait out the negates. That's what I did. I baited out a negate off of him trying to keep his Nahiri alive. So Goblin Dark-Dweller into, I believe, is a Lightning Strike, and he wanted to keep his Nahiri alive, so he negated the Lightning Strike, which then led from a free Chandra not getting negated the next turn. So, of course, my opponent didn't have my entire deck list down, but that's the way I like to play Magic, is where skill actually matters a ton. So, anywho, let me pop up my chat bar so I can actually see what you guys are saying here. Hopefully that doesn't screw everything up. All right, so this is a control deck. This is my update. You can see my deck tech a while back. The deck list, I believe, is in the description. Hopefully you guys can see it all. I'm still new to this whole YouTube live streaming. But, anywho, we have the Pyromancer's Goggles and the Chandra acting as the finishers in this deck, and the Soulfire Grandmaster. So what I like about red is the removals can then be used as late game finishers. In fact, game 2, I got a Pyromancer's Goggles out that did not get negated, and was able just to close the game out with Lightning Strikes and Incendiary Flows doing 6 damage at pop. And same thing with Kolaghan's Command is doing 4 damage, and you're actually copying the Kolaghan's Command, which is huge. So this deck is utilizing both the Crackling Dooms and Kolaghan's Command the most efficiently as possible with the Pyromancer's Goggles. You'd be surprised that Chandra Torture Defiant does very well with Kolaghan's Command, not so much with Crackling Doom. It's a little bit more awkward to cast, but the super secret deck or card in this deck is Commune. Commune with the Lava is actually really, 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 really good. So I think that I have one more in the sideboard. I think that I was using Painful Truths, and I think that Commune can safely replace Painful Truths as the draw card, because with Chandra you can actually use it. You have an entire turn to use the Commune with the Lava cards, and you can actually play lands. So if you didn't hit your land drop, you can Commune for like 4 or 5 and hit a land drop, and then if you have one off of the next one, you can actually play it off of that as well. Commune will also get kind of cool with an idea I have with using Eternal Scourge, because then if they get exiled, you can always cast them at any times. So anywho, I used to have more like Blessed Alliance in the deck, but I thought between having a lot of authority of the Consuls and Blessed Alliance, we didn't really need to gain a lot of life. The Soulfire Grandmaster can gain life, but we do have even Kalitas in the sideboard, Kalitas. People are already saying I'm pronouncing things wrong, but anywho, yeah. Then Nahiri is good just as a pretty decent card against certain artifacts and enchantments that you want to remove. In this deck, you're not really going to tick it up to find... I mean, you tick it up, you find a Goblin Dark-Dwellers, so no biggie. Virulent Plague. This card's insanely good in the format. I just played against a Sidisi deck, and they use Crypt Breakers and Sidisi in the same deck, and the Virulent Plague really, really set my opponent back, giving all the tokens -2/-2 when they're trying to get tokens out. Even had Haunted Dead in there, so it killed the spirit. A Wonder of Roast in the sideboard to take care of opposing cards. I had the 5 damage to a creature with flying. I just thought that Roast was a little more versatile in this deck, but it also works really well with Chandra. So, I mean, this deck feels the most like Scred Red, I would say, out of every deck that I've played in Frontier. I guess you could go more of a heavy Scred Red, but it's just getting value off of Big Red, which is what these cards here do. So, anywho, let's go ahead and play some games. Let's show you how to do that first. So first of all, you need to save this as a freeform until, of course, we can hopefully get Wizards online with getting us a Frontier format. So if you have a deck, if you've built it in Modern, make sure you come over to the display settings here and save it as freeform. Now, freeform is kind of a crappy little thing here because it saves like every draft, and you have to go and manually delete them all, which is super annoying. But I've got it right here with Frontier Goggles, and the Frontier how to play is you go to Play Lobby, and then you need to come over here to the Constructed Open Play, and then you can either go just for fun, getting serious. I think all these are fine, but you have to go over to the format, click freeform, go over to players, go one-on-one. You can allow buddies to win clock, that's fine. Deck required, we'll find the Frontier Goggles, and then it will see here's some people playing freeform, but none of them are saying what they're playing here. You can go into getting serious, see if they've, I think freeform is only allowed. Maybe we can go tournament practice, getting serious, just for fun. I think this is probably where we'll find the games. So you come over here for just for fun, and we can host new match. And in the comments, oops, let's leave this. In the comments, you just put Frontier, and you'll get some matchups actually quite quick. I mean, I didn't have any, there wasn't any time in between getting a match when I played earlier today. So let's go ahead and host a match here. See if most of these decks you run into will have dig through time just because of the freeform setting. And see if we can get a... Oh, my monitor is... I think my other monitor is on the end of its days. It keeps shutting off, so... Got a short somewhere or overheats or something. Alvicus, have you seen my spoiler video about the spoilers today? Yeah, I did one for Market Monday. I know there's been some spoilers after that. There are some pretty sweet artifacts that were spoiled after. I think a snake was spoiled after I did my spoiler video. But the main ones I'm excited for, I just did a deck tech for one too, is the new Pure Steel Paladin and the new Black Removal. They're both really, really good. So let's see what's going on. See if I'm even in the right. Last time it was like very, very quickly that I got a match. Can you even host one in Getting Serious or Tournament Practice? Let's see if we can host one for freeform here, if this is the right. Now I say it's so easy to match, I'm not going to be able to get one, huh? Casey, Dig Through Time, right now I think that the whole thing about Dig Through Time is it's inevitably going to be too powerful for the format, in my opinion. So right now it's okay. It's still powerful. Very, very good card, especially off Torrential Gearhulk. That's fun, hit a Dig Through Time. So I just fought through 3 Dig Through Times. So I wouldn't say that, and that should theoretically be my worst matchup for a deck like this. So if I was able to fight through 3 Dig Through Times, maybe it's not too busted. Where I find it the most busted is in like rally combo type decks. It actually allows them to go find specific cards. So I think that's where Dig Through Time becomes the most dangerous, is with more combo-based strategies. And right now I don't think Frontier's there. So I think Dig is safe at the moment. I think Treasure Cruise is probably one that will need to get banned faster than Dig, and yeah, if that actually, do you guys like this chat up or not? We'll put the chat up. All right, so yes, we'd like to play first. Ideally, we want to keep a hand like, yes, this is a perfect hand. We have a late game strategy. We have all of our sources. We would like to see another red source, of course, for the Goblin Dark-Dwellers, but it by far is the most common color in this deck. So go ahead and play the Inspiring Vantage. Let me know if there's any bugs too, if the audio sounds okay and everything like that. Again, I'm one of these years I'm going to get good with streaming. A little bit of a hiccup. We were going to start streaming at the store. Apparently the internet that I have at home is not available for commercial use, whatever the hell that means. I don't know why they won't put it for commercial. And so we're trying to actually get, since there's an apartment in the back of our building, we're going to try to see if they can somehow hook it up in the apartment. But other than that, it's the only option that I have for upload speed to be fast enough to stream. The other two, like DSL type services, only give 0.5 and 0.8, which is horrendous. Who the hell only gives 0.5 up these days? It's like third world internet here. And the other ones that I use is this other, the service I have at home runs like a radio wave type thing, so it's very inconsistent. But I want to start streaming at the store because I'm always there, and that's where a lot of ideas come up, is at the stores. But we have that hiccup to deal with before we can start live streaming from the store for more Frontier games. So Aristocrats in Frontier, yeah, Aristocrats basically works under a Rally of the Ancestors type deck. Our opponent missed his land drop, part the Water Veil. I think I might, since I might at end of his turn just blow a Lightning Strike. I'm not going to do it right now, but we want to hit a land drop there either, but we're not under any huge pressure. So take an extra turn type deck. I'm located in Richfield, Utah, Craig. It's a tiny, tiny store. Basically, me and my buddy just run it, and it does not make money, but it's fun. So we're gonna try to upgrade it in the future. Yeah, I am going to just throw off a Lightning Strike. Theoretically, this should be another deck that is very hard for us to deal with. Any of these kind of like mono blue do nothing decks. If I can get a Chandra out here, okay, Smoldering Marsh will not come into play. Untapped. I think I can safely just end of turn a Wild Slash. But if I get Chandra online, I should be in great shape. So let's see, I'm trying my best to get your answer your questions as well. I think the new removal is hype. Absolutely not. The new removal is one of the most insane removal spells printed in the past decade. It's on power level with any of the other tier removal spells. It's not Ulcerate all over again. It's perfect for Modern and Legacy. It's so easy to kill something with converted mana cost. All right, this is going to be tough, a life gain deck. But we do get to get Chandra out. And Chandra could start ramping us where we want to be. We can add mana. No, it's exile. It doesn't matter. And it's Inspiring Vantage, so our opponent's at 13. But Aetherflux Reservoir combo should be pretty good. Jace's Sanctum, yeah, our opponent is ready to go crazy, so keep that in mind. So I need to hit land drops here. We'll keep ticking up Chandra. That's perfect. I think the right play here is just to tick up. We'll exile the top card, and if we want to cast it, we'll cast it. I don't think we do. I just think we do the 2 damage, and then we'll go ahead and crack this, and just go get a basic Mountain as the other ones come to play tapped, and then just hit a Goblin Dark-Dwellers for a Lightning Strike. Again, this could be the turn my opponent just goes crazy and beats me. This is one of the worst matchups for a deck like this, though. Because he's got Jace's Sanctums out. He's got Aetherflux Reservoir. He's got 6 cards in hand. He's got 5 lands. Yeah, this is pretty much over. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it off. Unless my opponent just has some very bad cards in hand. Triple Dark-Dwellers, of course, isn't what we want to see. Pour over Pages. That's perfectly what he wants because it untaps 2 lands to cast some more. And can scry and finds him some more. Oh man, that card is... How is that hype? How in the world do you consider that a hype card? It kills everything in removal. Kills Smuggler's Copters. Kills basically all the aggro decks in Standard at the moment. It's exactly what Black needs. The problem right now is sorcery speed removal, like the Disfigure, the enchantment Disfigure. Why do I keep forgetting the name of Deadweight? So we'll just keep ticking up Chandra. No, we're not going to play it because it's the same. Pretty sure that Dark-Dwellers will get returned back. Don't know how I'm still in this. Well, we're going to go for it. Right now. I'd like to make him use a spell this turn, like a negate. And he's going to Hydro Slash. Wonder why I didn't do that first. And just say players can't gain life this turn. No, damage can't be prevented. Grasp of Darkness is not prime removal, though. The problem with Grasp of Darkness is it's 2 mana, and between the 2 to 1 mana is huge, especially splashability of just a 1 black. With a lot of lands actually coming to play tap, we're talking about like Hissing Quagmires and Green-Black Delirium coming to play tapped. That is insanely big that now that you can rely on your one removal mana. That'd be like saying that Declaration Stone is comparable to Path to Exile. I mean, it's just not. All right, we're going to force my opponent to cast another spell here, or we just win. And maybe I should have done that before he could draw a card. So he did get another Hydro Slash, so... Oh, those are 2 cards that he could have used. Red-Green Energy gets a lot of cool things. The snake is pretty awesome. Any other things I've missed? Sorry, I'm trying to focus on playing and focus on comments at the same time. Seven cards in our opponent's hand. Here's a take a bazillion turns. Guess I could have waited for that Hydro Lash in response, too. Don't know if my opponent would have played it. So he's going to Engulf, which sends back my Goblin Dark-Dwellers, gains him a life. Does not draw him any sort of cards, though. And still has to find a way for Chandra. And Days Undoing. That's actually fine. Because that ends his turn. And I should just win here. Especially the Kolaghan's command destroying the... So we're going to start off with the Kolaghan's command. Destroying an artifact and 2 damage to start creature or player. Skevin, I guess you missed where we were talking. I'll show you again how to join a Frontier game. We just have a nice little community that is playing at the moment on MTGO. You just have to go into Freeform is how you do it. Guess I should have just ulted Chandra first. I wanted to get rid of that Aetherflux Reservoir. But yeah, we'll get the emblem, and then this allows a Wild Slash just to win. Alright, so the bad news is we don't really have anything for this deck. Again, this is one of those matchups that is just very, very, very tough. The Nahiri is okay. It can't take care of his namesake card. Commune's also very good. So the cards that just don't do damage, like Wild Slash should be the card I think I'd take out. Even Hallowed Moonlight I could use just as a cantrip. Anguished Unmaking comes into. That's kind of my... Well, Crackling Doom, did you see any... What's his alternate win condition in this? No, it's just Aetherflux Reservoir, I would say, or there could be some sort of like Metallurgic Summonings in here. So I think Wild Slash is just a card that can do damage over a Crackling Doom, and I guess just play the Crackling Doom. Again, not a lot I can take out. We'll just submit this. it's it's not. Again, it's not conditional though. It's not conditional removal. It's in the same thing that is abrupt decay conditional removal. It's really good. Should be back. Am I back online? This is definitely a keepable hand. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Some a hiccup. So keepable. We don't have a Chandra or a Pyromancer's Goggle in sight. I'm sure my opponent just brought in a ton of hate. Meaning counterspells. Did not like to hit a land drop there or draw a land, but we are a heavy land drop because we do want to make sure that Chandra and Pyromancer's Goggles comes out on time. Michael, fiber actually runs through my town. That's the sad thing. Goes right through the center of Richfield. They actually have like a NSA spy place in Richfield, and so they have they claim that's not what it is, but that's what it is. It's a backup server basically for the United States government right here in Richfield, and it has fiber hooked right to it. So it goes right down my town, but unfortunately it's not available for everyone. Frontier, for everyone that doesn't know, Frontier is just cons block forward. It was created by mainly the larger stores in Japan. The problem with old modern cards is that a lot of them do not exist in Japanese. So it's very, very tough, and saying learn English is just a stupid... I mean, it's in Japan. Why would you tell people to learn English if they want to play Modern? So they came up with a format that was accessible to the Japanese language, which was Frontier. So I think we just burn these right now. Might as well. I mean, again, this is almost like a unwinnable matchup, especially when you draw into 2 lands. But we did win the first one. I think it was mainly just because my opponent had some pretty meh cards. Aether Hub, the only reason Aether Hub will probably still go down, the unprofessional, the whole reason is it's still being drafted as a one of. And draft affects prices more than anything between the sealed and draft events. And so I think it will still go down, but maybe after rotation, Hub should definitely recover. That's just the nature of the beast with MTG Finance. Let's play around a rebuff. If you missed the deck tech, this deck tech is Pyromancer's Goggles. It's actually a control list that can kind of turn the tables. So all of our removal spells actually are control as well, if that makes sense. I went over the deck tech in more detail. Of course, it's changed since I did the video. M15 forward, yeah. I'm not sure what the price of this deck is. Bloodstained Mires are what, 12 apiece? So they're the expensive part, Wooded Foothills, Bloodstained Mire. And unfortunately, I think that fetch lands are going to be a boogeyman for the whole Frontier format, unless we do get a reprint of the Zendikar fetches, and then it can go down in price. So, well, we hit another land. So let's just go, let's thin out. So he's got 2 of the pieces of the combo. 3 cards still left in our opponent's hand. He could just have, I mean, use 3 Anticipates. That's quite a bit. P and Chronolar can go in this deck. I didn't think that there's not a lot of decks I need to protect myself against, like the same way in Modern. Modern P and Chronolar does a great job just chump blocking things that are big. This deck can just have access to Radiant Flames. Plus I have Virulent Plague. A lot of non-bows is what we like to call it in the format. So, anywho. We're going to try to slam a Nahiri. I'm going to try to bait out some sort of spell, because Nahiri can take care of Jace's Sanctum. And I think that we just do go for it here. If this doesn't get countered, I'm in great shape. And there's the negate. Derek, my favorite color combination is green-black. I would say I'm mainly a black player. Black is my favorite color in Magic. I just like kind of the power at cost type theme. A lot of synergies in black. I apologize, Kevin, too, about the Rogue Master Brewer. The November through February is very, very busy for me. And it's also very busy for the other people that help out the website. And that's just kind of my excuse anyway. Well, more lands. I think we're going to flood out this game. Our opponent's also flooding out, but I think my opponent utilizes mana a lot better than I do. Not going to play a Creator's Claw till I get the... Pyromancer's Goggles. So now it's just whoever draws best. My opponent is getting to scry off of these things. So he's got to hit a relevant card sooner or later. No, Rabble Master is actually pretty easy to take care of these days. Any instant speed removal takes care of it. Well, good news is we can just buy back Lightning Strikes now. And I think we play it before he's got a chance to... Oh, that happens. Still buys back. I thought for sure that's how it worked. So now our opponent has 1 card in hand off the Hydro Lash and got to scry some with the Disperse. So I'm in great shape. Rabble's actually seeing a ton of play. I believe it sees the most play out of any card creature-wise in Frontier at the moment, just because there's a lot of Atarka red decks running around. It's very easy to put in like some of the Goblin decks are running it, some of the Jeskai aggro decks are running it. Opponent hit another land drop. So we are just both flooding out. I guess at this point, the more lands, the merrier for me, because I can utilize it better than my opponent. Maybe a Goblin Dark-Dweller is just better there. But we can buy it back. And play it. Yeah, I actually do think it's slammed down a Dark-Dweller here. And we'll cast an Incendiary Flow. It's because we have a Creator's Claw. We could actually cast a Creator's Claw for... Nah, 2's worthless. Or 3. Goblins are good in Frontier. Goblins are actually pretty good. Mentor is a little bit harder to protect. I suggest running things like... Green-White Mentor looks really good to me because you have both Ranger's Guile and... Ranger's Guile and the... new one, Blossoming Defense, and that's the best way to protect it. I still think there was a deck that I made with Jeskai Ascendancy with Monastery Mentor and Silverfear Partisan. I think that deck's actually pretty decent without Jeskai Ascendancy. Just green-white, protect Mentor. So play like something like Seeker of the Way, Or just need another werewolf like Duskwatch Recruiter, even just any sort of werewolf you want to get some advantage out of. And then Monster Mentor and the Silver Partisan, and then just a bunch of ways to protect it. There's an indestructible spell. There is both the hexproof cards. The good news is Frontier seems like all over the place. There doesn't seem to be like one strategy that is just more broken. A lot of people are going like to things that were familiar, but Rally was good in its time. After really Khans of Tarkir, at the end of Khans of Tarkir, Rally got good. But during that time, there were like 3 or 4 decks that were just as good. So he's going to Ensoul Artifact a Prism Ring. That's pretty bad because now I can kill the thing if I wanted to. It also can't block the Goblin Dark-Dwellers. So I could block it, kill it, but I'm at such high life this doesn't matter. Is he going to engulf here? Part the Water Veil, sure. Molten Vortex I don't think is great in this hand or in this deck because we do want to like see how much lands we have. We can still utilize it with Soulfire Grandmaster. The more lands, the merrier. Molten Vortex, of course, can be brewed around quite easily in Frontier. You have Splendid Reclamation and Omnoth. That's a Reanimator strategy I definitely want to try out. So hit another land drop. Could be playing something against attacking creatures. Yep, attacking creatures get -2, -2. Sure. Draws a card, gains a life. At this point, maybe I buy back and kill the... No. I still we'll try to Crater's Claw. I don't think I Crater's Claw him. I think we'll go for the buyback because that's... Well, we don't have Ferocious now. We're just going to use it right now. Okay, it hits. We'll hold it. Really grindy matchup. Skin Invasion is a pretty sweet card. I've tried to brew with it. There's a good thing for SRAM, or SRAM, or however you would pronounce the new dwarf. That's a little enchantment that can draw you a card. He's going to take another extra turn. And Awaken. Not sure if this is the time just to play the Lightning Strike before it gets like negated. I think it is time to just use it. Because I'm taking 11 here if he's got another take extra turn. We could just die. Another Prism Ring. Sure. Another Prism Ring. So one card in hand has to be something very, very significant. And he keeps it back. So what is the best way to do it? Attacking creatures. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there is 6. And then we have the Lightning Strike backup plan, if that's the case. Wait, no. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd have to do one more. No, I had it right. right? Because X is currently 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, because I do have Ferocious. And it negates it. Ay, ay, ay. So I don't think I'll attack in. Our opponent does scry, puts them all on the bottom, so see if does draw the pivotal card. Yeah, well, baiting with strike wouldn't do anything because it's just casting the spell and then you just gain a bunch of life. I doubt he would have negated just that. Haven't seen the new Ghostbusters. Yeah, I actually think that Storm with Harness the Storm, that's a card that I'm actually bringing. A mono red Harness the Storm type card. So he's going to come in with these. So I think I do need to block. Jeez, I hate this play. So he takes well, he can just do the damage here, and if he takes another extra turn after this, we still have blockers. Imprison. Should have imprisoned the other one. I don't know if I can do 12 in one turn, though. But now I can actually activate it, right? Because he gives me the mana here. And we get it back. Ah, joy. Well, how much can we do here? Is it, I think just attacking in with the Shambling Vents gets us 4. And I think this is enough. Because we can buy it back and play it again. So there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's enough. So barely grind this one out. I think. Did I meth wrong? No, I meth perfect. Okay, so I didn't tap my lands right, though. And Lightning Strike gets the job done. Boom. Alrighty. That was fun. We'll try to play one more game here. Sorry, it's gonna be a shorter stream today. Just want to at least try to get in the swing back into streaming. Try to get some comments before I get another one. Let's just get another game going. And then, if I had to play in a PTQ right now for Frontier, what deck would it be? Ugh. I don't know. A darker red just goes safe? I'm not sure. Sometimes when I do spike it up at times. Unless I'm extremely prepared with the rogue deck, I will play like a more mainstream deck at a bigger tournament like a PPTQ. The most successful PPTQs I have ever had in Standard, though, was with the rogue deck. I'd like to consider myself one of the fathers of the kind of the archetype with the Jared, Golgari Lich Lord. Before Conley Woods really brought it to the forefront, I top 8'd a PTQ at the time with I think there was over 120 players, and did quite well. In fact, almost got another Pro Tour out of it because the only remaining matchups were basically what I could consider auto wins. There were 2 Esper control lists and then I lost in the quarterfinals to Mono Black Devotion, which is actually a pretty easy matchup for the Dredge deck, but he had the Thoughtseize Pack Rat Mutable on the 2 matchups that I lost. So, anywho. So, I do I'll play a rogue deck if I'm very, very comfortable with it. That's my goal. But I think with not knowing the format, just playing it kind of safe would be that. Or do you know I'd play Atarka's Bane, which is in my opinion is green white humans. Green white humans just there was a kid playing green white humans against Atarka red next to me at my Frontier tournament, and it was just hilarious how bad Atarka red got beat up, even with with insane Atarka red draws. We're talking about like one drop, like Swiss Spear into Dragon Fodder, into Goblin Rabblemaster, into Reckless Bushwhacker type draws, and he just beat him up with the amount of like life gain and just going over the top with Thalia's lieutenants and whatnot. So, anywho, there is a lot of like metagaming to do. A lot of people don't understand kind of where the term metagame comes. Is playing the game of the meta. Is trying to figure out what decks do I play the best deck, or do I play the deck that beats the best deck, or do I play the deck that has the overall best chance against the top two decks, or do I play the deck that beats the deck that I think people are going to try to play that beats the best deck? And so that's the whole theory of metagaming. Hangerback Walker Masterpiece is a pretty card. Hangerback Walker, I think, it's definitely answerable in the Frontier format. Declaration in Stone exists. Incendiary Flow exists. Two cards that didn't really exist during the kind of reign of terror that Hangerback Walker had. Which is funny because those are two cards that are bad against Smuggler's Copter. Yeah, Jund does seem sweet. There was a good Jund Planeswalker list that was going around that looked really, really good. With, the expertise into Liliana is still a pretty incredible play. Liliana, too, doesn't see a lot of play in Frontier. I think that her time will come. Chandra is seeing a lot of play. The Briton, the elephant's pretty cool. Yep, talked about it in my spoiler video. Still loving Frontier? Adam, so how you do Frontier, I'm in here, I'll go through the step again. So you have to make a deck. So you go over to the deck here and make sure that you save it under this gear. You click on the gear here and make sure that you save it as format Frontier. Freeform. Which makes it so that people can play Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, because both those are even restricted all the way into Vintage, Treasure Cruise is. So then you have to make sure it shows up in your freeform. You might have to wade through all the drafts that you've done, because they save them and then never delete them. So then it's in your freeform. This is the deck that I'm currently using. You come over to the play lobby, click on the constructed open play, and then you can come either into tournament practice, getting serious, just for fun, and a lot of times you find Frontier. Like there's two people playing Frontier there. You can do it any one of these tabs. You'll probably get a player. We'll go back into just for fun. It seems like people are playing there. The Unprofessional, the 7-Eleven vehicle has already had some pretty stupid combos that people have been playing with it. You got to think of the Start Your Engine type card. There's other ones that do. You can animate it. Anything that animates it into a 7-Eleven that doesn't mess with the base power and toughness. There's now the new enchantment that gives it +3/+0. Am I playing against Tyler? This is a buddy of mine, I believe. I believe this is his... I think this is my buddy. Anyway, we'll play first. I think this is definitely Yeah, this is definitely keepable. Let's go ahead and we'll fetch for... No, we'll just go Shambling Vent. This gives us all our sources. I don't know if we need a Wild Slash. Well, Lupine Prototype and a Thraben Inspector can crew it. I know it doesn't curve right, though. So here we'll just end a turn however we want to do this. Knowing Tyler, he might be watching the stream and he can see my hand. Little cheater. Radiant Fountain. And a Incendiary Servant. Yeah, we're not going to let that live. I could probably actually kill it. We'll go we'll Smoldering Marsh. I'll just Wild Slash it. I do want to make sure that I... Oh, actually we didn't need that. Yeah, I was thinking I needed to guarantee another red source. There's another red source. I'm going to go ahead and just Wild Slash it. Can't allow a Generator Servant. There's so many degenerate things that can happen with it. And then in turn we can get another Smoldering Marsh if we want, or just a red. So Foundry of the Consuls. So it's going to be some sort of... probably trying to get Scuddling Doom engine out. That would be my guess. So here we'll just get a basic mountain. And we'll just use our mana efficiently for the Generator Servant. Generator Servant was one of my favorite cards ever printed. Love this card. Kudos to Tyler. Tyler is like very, very rogue. He plays a lot of decks that have more of these obscure cards. He plays at my local game store. Great guy. He writes articles over at roguedeckbuilder.com every now and again as well. So here we got an opening for Chandra. This is going to be very good. And we'll just go ahead and exile top card. And that's a tough one to get exiled. The Commune with Lava. Love it. Against this matchup, it might not be necessary. And so a Vessel, so he's going all out trying to ramp up to higher drops. Like, again, I think Scuddling Doom engine is probably the thing that you want with Generator Servant. Maybe he's even higher. We do have the Crackling Doom, though, so this is going to be an easy fix for whoever he's trying to cheat out. Don't know if he can one-shot me. I highly doubt it. So we'll just go ahead and exile top card again. And no, because I want to go... I guess I could have done that. No, because it wouldn't have cast for anything. And we'll get the Pyromancer's Goggles out. And now even if he does sack the Vessel, worst case scenario is about Ugin. Ugin coming out this turn. Ulamog 2. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, Ulamog is not quite in contention to come out this turn because it's going to be 1 mana off. Emrakul only has, of course, creatures in the graveyard, so I have creature enchantment. So it also is not coming down. I don't think that like Scuddling Doom engine could do like a one-shot combo, but here's 4. And there's P and Chronolar, and this is going to be a card that's actually pretty decent because it does allow for multiple threats to come down. But we get to Crackling Doom. We actually get to double up on Crackling Doom. Yeah, and Goblin Dark-Dwellers here. So we're in great shape. Alright, so I think we might actually want to pump up this for mana. I'm going to go ahead and just use the Crackling Doom. And so Pia dies, a Thopter token dies. We'll put out an Inspiring Vantage. The Goblin Dark-Dwellers can get out another Crackling Doom. I could just wait. I think what we want to do is we do want to get Chandra in ult range. So it's probably the best thing to do. It's just Goblin Dark-Dwellers. And then cast back a Crackling Doom. And that was pretty brutal. We're out of cards, though, but Chandra is in ult range. And our opponent's at 12. Just from the Crackling Dooms. 2, 4, 6. And how do we do the other damage? Oh, the Chandra. Dark Jeskai's fine. I just played against it with this deck and just murdered it, though. Absolutely murdered it. I played against a Jeskai control deck, too. And again, absolutely murdered it. Actually fought through 3 Dig Through Times and Ugin. 3 Dig Through Times, 2 Nahiris and Ugin, and 2 Ulamogs, and one with 2 cards left in my deck. And then game 2, I was able to resolve a Pyromancer's Goggles. And once you resolve a Pyromancer's Goggles, it's very, very tough. So a Thopter Engineer. Yeah, I guarantee there's some sort of wombo combo. I've lost tons of games to Tyler out of nowhere. I remember one of the game days I think it was at, when I was at 18 life, and I'm like, I'm fine. He had nothing on board, and he put out a prophetic prison, or prophetic, the one that has double strike, gave it haste, pumped it up, and did 18 damage to me in one turn. I'm like, oh my god. I didn't even see it coming because he's like playing other cards, other aggressive cards. But anywho, let's see, where do we want to go here? This can do 4 damage from the, I think we'll exile the top card of our library, and it's Battlefield Forge. So we have Lightning Strike that can do 3 damage and doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think that just clearing his Thopter Engineer is probably the best route. Come on. Hopefully I don't click through this. So this means that whatever he puts out doesn't have haste from the Thopter Engineer. Scuttling Doom Engine, I'm still thinking, is the card that's coming out. Hey, who's right? This guy. So killing the Thopter Engineer was smart there. He's got attack. He can't attack into the Thopter or he dies. But he can't really not attack in with it either. Yeah, he just dies no matter what. Because I can activate the Shambling Vent. And that thing cannot block. So we are in great shape here. Cool deck though. Trying to ramp into a I can just win by ulting Chandra here. And casting the Pyromancer's Goggles. We'll exile the top card. And these have menace, so he can't block enough. Alrighty. So onto the sideboard versus a deck like this. Radiant Flames is actually pretty good. Virulent Plague as well. I think Virulent Plague is worthwhile to bring in this particular matchup. Radiant Flames not so much. This way we can be proactive. Hallowed Moonlight I don't think needs to come in. Commune with Lava we can stay as a one of. Nahiri can exile a Scuttling Doom Engine, but is that necessary? Any sort of red deck Kalitas is fine against. Anguished Unmaking can actually exile it. I think that just taking care of those type of cards is probably the right route to go. Crackling Doom in this case probably doesn't need to be as highly sought after here because destroying it, yeah, a lot of the Scuttling Doom will get 6 damage. I'll keep 1 in. We'll take a Commune out. I don't think I really need to try to go for card advantage too highly. And then even a card like Pyromancer's Goggles is maybe not necessary. We'll bring in a Nahiri. I'm going to go to 2 Pyromancer's Goggles. We'll just go 1 Virulent Plague because it's not that big of a deal. There's not a lot of bad options in this particular deck. Even Authority of the Consuls could come in. This takes care of his like haste. And I'm going to actually bring it in. Wild Slash can probably, we can kill Generator Servants, but that was about it. I'm just going to bring in a bunch of one of options here. Howdy, Seamus. Jimmy, I'm not sure if I like Gonti's Aetherheart. Again, go check out my Market Monday video. It's just you have to exile. It's kind of awkward. Commander will love it, but just wait for the how much it's selling for. It'll probably be selling for way too much at the first. Yahani's Expertise, same thing. So we do mold a 5 on this one. There's a Magmatic Insight that is discarding a land. And there is the Shambling Vent into play. That's the best play. We needed to hit a land drop there, so we're in decent shape. And there's a Generator Servant. You guys know my feelings about Generator Servants. They must die ASAP in a deck like this. And we'll use the Sorcery Speed one. And there's another Generator Servant with a Molten Vortex. Molten Vortex would be good later for him to ditch lands. I'm not the biggest fan of it in a deck like his. I don't think that Molten Vortex wants to be in a deck where your CMC is really, really low, in my opinion. So we'll get rid of the Generator Servant. Unfortunately, I think that it's even more hostile for Generator Servant in Frontier than it ever was in Standard. That was kind of my problem with... that's actually a pretty good card against me. The Pia Nalar. Now, Authority of the Consuls came out late. I think we want a way to try to protect Nahiri. So I'm not just gonna pump out Nahiri quite yet. There's another Magmatic Insight. It's not really card advantage though, because it's still discarding to draw and using spells. So I'm going to be taking 3 here, possibly 4 with the pump up. I can always get that back even on the backswing. Nope, just 3. I can exile P and Alar if I want to. Which might actually be the right choice. He can then Molten Vortex. Nope, he played a land. Soulfire Grandmaster is interesting here, but I still think that Nahiri's the better play. I want to hit another land drop for the Pyromancer, so I think I just pump this up. Force into attack. And there's an Incendiary Flow. At least it gives me some play next turn for Pia. And a target that my opponent needs to start worrying about. So, yes, theoretically my opponent could kill Nahiri, but that's absorbing a ton of damage. Scudding Doom Engine. Oh, actually that's... a 30 console just wrecked the Scudding Doom Engine. That's funny. I gotta laugh here. Yeah, we're killing that next turn. That's a pretty good combo. And let's keep Nahiri alive. And Authority Console again. Wow. Pretty good hate card. Alright, we found the caves. So Nahiri could die this turn. We have a discarded land. But we do get we have the Pyromancer's Goggles, which is really powerful. We've taken care of quite a few cards. Those will both come into play tapped. And he needs to drop a land, I would say, to pump up the Thopter. Alright, so our Nahiri lives. Well, I had 3 Authority of the Consuls in the sideboard, Hector, and they're just... yeah, it just seems like so overkill, because we already have a good matchup versus aggro. A Tarka Red can be iffy. I was just upset. Like, one match I lost versus a Black-Red aggro, and because it just spit out its entire hand. But, I think we lose Nahiri no matter what here. Kill and kill. No, we don't lose Nahiri. Alright, so Nahiri's still alive. The Pyromancer's Goggles copied the Wild Slash. But anyway, so I brought in a lot of Authority of the Consuls, and then they just seems like really, really overkill. Even if I was like gaining a life and tapping things down, if then I wasn't removing the cards, they just keep doing damage. See if he's got to discard a land to kill Nahiri. Yep. Alright, we'll eventually grind him out, though. This is also going to make it hard to cast those higher converted mana cost type. That was a lot of resources that had to be used. Now, I didn't want to attack with Shambling Vent here. I'd rather keep it back. So see what comes out. Vessel. Another Scuttling Doom Engine. This way, for whatever reason, he attacks me with a Thopter Engineer. We'll just... Yeah, let's take the 1. I think I do want to kill the Scuttling Doom Engine, even though it will cost me 6 damage, or 6 life. I don't think life is too big of an issue here. That's a neat card. To gain a life? Nah, we'll keep it back. Oops, shouldn't have tapped the black there. Skevin, I love the artifact card of calling. Again, I talked about it in my spoiler video. I killed my Soulfire. So the Molten Vortex is getting a lot of... Is he trying to bait this out? That's okay. Oh, no, I messed up. Yeah, I messed up. That's fine. We'll get him on the crackback with the Shambling Vent. Or does the Kolaghan... You want to see... Okay, so here you're gonna see a lot of bustedness. This is a busted... busted interaction. Alright, so I have to do the same mode twice, is the thing. Right? Yeah, I do. I have to do the same mode twice. What I copy is what I choose. So we're going to return target creature card from a graveyard or hand, because there's 2 Soulfire Grandmasters. And we're going to do 2 damage to creature or player. I think that's better than having him discard a card. Because we can kill off a Thopter Engineer. Or just a Thopter and do 2 damage. Or we could do, yeah. So Soulfire Grandmaster and whoa. Something's messing up here. Okay, try it again. So return target creature and deal 2 damage. So return and 2 damage. Okay, and then the next copy is going to return this Soulfire and do 2 damage to him. No! I think it's bugged. Welp. Why can't it do a new target? Maybe it did do that. We'll see. We'll see if me clicking on that. Lame. Is that a bug, or is that just how it has to work? Whatever. It should have let me target the player there. And another land. Eventually, he'll run out of lands to throw the Molten Vortex. That's another annoying card. Insanely annoying card because it does give value to the Soulfire Grandmaster. So possibly could have waited another turn. Shambling Vent is about as bad as it comes. So white, we need to spend this and a white, because we can still spend a white for Shambling Vent. But he could actually draw out of this. That was a pretty insane draw with the Pia, because Pia can now kill the Soulfire Grandmaster. Or just another land for the Molten Vortex. This nets me up a life. Or is he going to use it to destroy a Thopter? Yeah, that's still worth it in my opinion. We gain life and it uses a Thopter token. And we still have another Shambling Vent back. Well, I'll draw some lands. This one will let it go through. I'll take the 2 because we got on the backswing. We can just attack in with the Shambling Vent. I mean, they could have a land and then activate to sack an artifact, but at that point, there's a lightning strike anyway. Perfect card. So here, only matter of time before we hit something like that. And kill the Thopter Engineer. I boarded in 1 Radiant Flames. I didn't want to get too many Radiant Flames. Alright, back up to a healthy 15. Finally got some damage on our opponent. Magmatic Insight for another land. Our opponent has drawn into a ton of lands. And another Thopter Engineer. Ay, ay, ay. But it did gain me life. And the Shambling Vent will be able to attack in again. Which is fine. We have a Virulent Plague, too, that we can always draw into. Or just Kalitas. Yeah, Kalitas is pretty powerful. See if he draws into 2 lands for Kalitas here, for Molten Vortex. A lot of resources, though, has had to go into... Yep, 2 lands for Kalitas. Ay, ay, ay. Another land in our opponent's hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opponent has drawn a ton of lands. So have I. So if Virulent Plague gets us out of this, a Radiant Flames gets us out of this to a point. Anguished Unmaking is pretty meh, actually. Double land still in our opponent's hand? Insane. So, all of my trash talking about Molten Vortex, and it actually definitely paid off. But I'll let my opponents draw Molten Vortexes all day long against a value deck. Value! Except I can't get a Goblin Dark-Dwellers or a... just any burn spell at this point. There we go. Speak of the devil. So Kolaghan's Command, of course, will be the best card because it can get back a Soulfire Grandmaster. Or no, it'll get back a Kalitas. So Kolaghan's Command. Return target creature card from your graveyard to hand and deal 2 damage to target creature or player works. Unfortunately, we can't... I'm going to go ahead and crack this. This does put me in jeopardy to a few turns. But I think that's actually better than a Soulfire Grandmaster. Just, I mean, the land off of Molten Vortex is getting very, very scary. My opponent is 100% out of well, 1 card in hand. Can't really play any of their creatures, otherwise I gain life. I actually like that because it gives me more padding. Wild Slash is strong here, gets rid of both the Thopters. We don't need Kalitas out first. So I have to take... No, I don't have to take a life. So both the Thopters are taken care of. Probably should attack in with the Goblin Dark-Dwellers just to do some damage and put him on a quick clock. Because we do have the Authority of the Consuls that is still playing pretty good backup here. And he can't attack in to lose a Thopter into a Kalitas. Yeah, I didn't think so. Of course, did not like that draw. Still want to just go aggressive here. We always Anguished Unmaking. Kills off one of them. This is kind of a bad play because now we get a zombie token. Well, I don't think there is a such thing. I think we finally stabilized. Took a while to get there, but a string of lands. Generator Servant does nothing. Actually gives me a life. One card in hand, I can safely... Nothing can do 4 damage in the format, so I can safely do Anguished Unmaking here. And we'll sack a zombie, and we should be able to just attack in for lethal. There's a Chandra. Alrighty. Cool deck, though. Cool deck by Tyler. We'll look over the deck list one more time. Maybe I'll play one more. What time is it? Oh, jeez. I'm going to hate life in the morning tomorrow. I got to wake up early. So, any suggestions? I don't know if there's anything I would necessarily do to this deck. It's just, this is the key. This right here. This block. And then supported with this block. So, Pyromancer's Goggles at 4 have felt like too much, but it's very, very critical to hit one. I think that maybe a draw discard type card might be decent. But, anywho. Stoke the Flames is rough. There's 2 reasons I don't like Stoke the Flame in this deck. A, Goblin Dark-Dwellers. And B, it actually does fight for this slot here. So I don't think that it's worth... I think Exquisite Firecraft would just be better over than Stoke the Flames. I had the Exquisite Firecraft in the deck, but almost 9 times out of 10 Crackling Doom or Kolaghan's Commune was better than Exquisite Firecraft. I could replace like a 1 of Incendiary Flow, but I found that Incendiary Flow is actually pretty decent. Killing off an Zulaport Cutthroat versus Rally the Ancestors. Most Rally decks will try to protect their Zulaport Cutthroats, but if you can kill one off with Incendiary Flow and exile it for good, that's huge. The red Escalate card. The borrowed... not borrowed hostility. What's the Escalate? Is there one that actually does... Oh, Collected Defiance. Collected Defiance. I had Collected Defiance in here at one point, and it actually didn't... It almost 9 times out of 10 was worse than Kolaghan's Command and Crackling Dooms, and exact same reason. Yeah, it's pretty good to copy off Pyromancer's Goggle. Let's take out a Roast, and I'll put one in the sideboard. Roast just has so much synergy off Chandra, but I'm not sure it's necessary. I guess I could put it instead of Commune in the main. It really did. It just seemed so so redundant with these type of spells. This is actually also a pretty decent spell here. The Savage Alliance, if you copy it. So 2 damage to our creature and 1 damage to each creature. Nah, that's pointless. We're getting too cute at this point. So, anywho, yeah, Collected Defiance could easily be in the side, even in higher numbers. I'm not sure how much Radiant Flames is actually needed in this type of deck. All right, we'll play one more, and then you guys owe me because I'm going to hate life. So, getting up at 6 in the morning is no fun. All right, we have the 2 namesake cards. I think that we will bottom. No, we want the... I need the Inspiring Vantage mana. I hate keeping a land on top, but it's the best I can come up with. So, a Magmatic Insight. This is a Sphinx's Tutelage deck, most likely, which is going to be a very, very tough matchup. So we'll go Bloodstained Mire. I should have gone Wooded Foothills, actually. It's less versatile. And just go get a marsh. So Jace comes down here. We probably need to just Incendiary Flow Jace immediately, rather than wait for Soulfire Grandmaster. Get out of here. There's my 50-cent card that just killed a $45 card. Take that. Do I need to put a moderator on here? How do I even add a moderator? Sorry, I'll get new to this chat thing. Hey, Batman, calm it down a little bit. People are getting annoyed with your comments. What's up, HQ? Oh, man. All right, so let's go ahead and just chuck out the Soulfire Grandmaster. And we'll go with Wooded Foothills. It's again less versatile, the 2 cards to get the other Smoldering Marsh. Yeah, this is I'm assuming this is one of the more unwinnable matchups for Sphinx. I'm just not quick enough. And this is the type of deck that Sphinx's Tutelage really preys on. I played a Sphinx's Tutelage deck in Frontier just to run in testing, and I got murdered by everything aggressive. Even with cards like Radiant Flames to try to slow my opponent down, I just got murdered. So most likely going to lose this in a few turns here, and I'm going to be too slow. So we'll go ahead, and I'm 1 off for the Pyromancer's Goggles. I don't know if I go with a Lightning Strike quite yet. My opponent's still at 19. And there's really nothing I can sideboard either besides Nahiri. I mean, I could decide to... I don't even want to crack these fetch lands. Yeah, we're definitely not going to Pyromancer's Ascension. We can hit that off of a Goggle, or Pyromancer's Goggles. HQ, you're going to have to play some Frontier. It's a very fun format. Shilling off all of my... I think the biggest spec I did was I bought 20 Kolaghan's commands. And again, mainly that's for just keeping enough around for my player base. I identified that Kolaghan's command is probably going to be a really necessary card to keep down both Jace and Smuggler's Copter in the format. And so I don't want... I want to have the options available if people want to buy a Kolaghan's command. I actually have it at my store. And then I bought like 8 Anafenzas. We actually already had like 30 dig through times just sitting around. That hurts. Do I just lose here? Now I have 20 cards still left in my deck. See what he does for Treasure Cruise. Do you hit a Treasure Cruise off of it? Because Faithful Showdown, yep, this is just the stock deck for... Alright, so I'm losing another 6 cards. Unless they repeat. So down to 14. Can I kill him in 1 turn? Highly doubt it. Does he have a Magmatic Insight in his hand too? No. Well, that's a start. And the thing is, do I need to use my mana for the Lightning Strike right now? Because do I have another turn? do I just need a top deck? I think at this point, so I do 6 damage off of the Lightning Strike. I think the top deck is just better to rely on. Because it takes him down to a 9. It's an extra... Yeah, I think a top deck land is probably the better route because it allows for both. Yeah, HQ, definitely let's brew a deck. Sorry, I can't even keep my eyes open here trying to get the chat and play. Let's see here. So Tormenting Voice, 5 cards, Treasure Cruise. Yep. Okay, we lose. Again, good news is Sphinx's Tutelage is terrible in the meta. And I make that it's the understatement of the year. It gets beat by everything but a deck like ours. I think that Nahiri just comes in. Anguished Unmaking also can take care of it. So there's two answers we do. And the weaker of the cards, of course, are going to be... Crackling Doom does take care of, like, Jaces. But I think Crackling Dooms can just come out. And then I could actually bring in Kalitas, but I think Commune with Lava is better. Collected Defiance just does more damage. We'll submit this. Oh, hey, Tasty. Didn't even see you showed up either. Hey, if everyone hasn't checked out Tasty Snacky's channel, click on this right here. Click on Tasty Snackies. Does that actually highlight it when I move over it? He has great content. Very small channel, too. Anguished Unmaking, you definitely keep an Anguished Unmaking hand. Yeah, me too, Nick. I'm trying to stay awake. I might just fall asleep on my own stream. We'll go ahead and go the Smoldering Marsh first turn. I think that's the better play. And pass. One of these days we'll find out a time to collaborate, Tasty. I think we're on like opposite schedules. My mornings are free, your nights are most likely. Better for you. I'll try to get back in it. Nights after February will be good. I want to get some more collaborations with the YouTube community, especially like Tutor's Library. That's the person I haven't collaborated for a long time. I think he'd be all over Frontier. Has Tutor's Library actually talked about Frontier? I think he did in one video. I'll have to go check that out again and see exactly. A lot of people either love it or hate it. I don't know why you would hate it. It's just a ton more options. It's standard with more options. The power level is slightly above standard. I mean, this is Khans of Tarkir standard, Dragon standard, and well, that makes things a little more difficult. And more of the Kaladesh Innistrad standard all in one. And so yes, there's a lot more options and the power level does creep up, but you'd be surprised it's not that much higher. Aggro decks right now in standard work just fine. They could push through this deck easily. This Sphinx's Tutelage would just get run over by vehicles. Well, we've killed Jace twice in a row. Put out your dirty tutelage so I can exile it next turn. Here, I'm going to check. How do I make a moderator? Moderator. Chat settings? What does this do? Add moderators. That did not work. I have to actually put an entire... Wow. I'll figure it out. I tried to add a moderator there. Tasty, see if it made you a moderator. I added the name, but it didn't seem to do anything. Maybe I right-click? No, right-click did nothing. Ah! I'm losing everything. Moderator. Maybe I click on this. Hey, there we go. Ta-da! Alright, there you go. Now Tasty you guys can blame Tasty if you get banned. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm casting Chandra. And I almost F6 there. Yeah, that's... I think we actually did win this one. So again, Sphinx's Tutelage has to have its namesake card. And yes, it just digs and digs and digs to try to find it. And there's Cathartic Reunion. Yeah, he's really digging. Trying to find it. Treasure Cruise can then exile and try to find it as well. But little does he know I'd actually have the answer for it. And he's used a lot of key cards, Tormenting Voices cards. I mean, they're all 4-ofs, but... Crater's Claw. Kolaghan's Command is pretty decent here. I think we just keep up Anguished Unmaking. Nine times out of 10, we're just going to exile this card, do 2 damage. Okay, it's a Caves anyway, so yeah. So we're just going to keep up Anguished Unmaking if it is a Sphinx's Tutelage. We have the, basically, hey, Hunter. What's going on, Hunter? We have the board state. Oh. Hope I'm making any sense, too. Again, I'm an old man. 12 o'clock is too late for a guy with gray hair. Sphinx's Tutelage. Is he keeping up Negate? I don't think I care because I can Anguish Unmaking it. Or Goblin Dark-Dwellers. I hope you got what I was saying there. So if he negates this, we have Goblin Dark-Dwellers. These probably need to be more of in the sideboard. Pyromancer's Goggles can add just 1, 2, 3. So I think that we just add the mana to our mana pool. And then we can Crater's Claw. No. Because we need to kill that ASAP. I think I still will just exile a top card. And that's good. Gets it out of the way. And now Chandra ults and we win. Because that's 5 and 5. Alright, there we go. So we did beat the Sphinx's Tutelage deck. Our opponent did get off to a really slow start. We only do have Nahiri and Anguished Unmaking. So, again, we have a pretty bad lineup. Did I bring in a Hallowed Moonlight somehow? Oh, jeez. Instead of Collected Defiance got in? How'd that happen? Even Talmadge is on? Don't you guys have school tomorrow? Jeez. Let's go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and keep this. It's pretty bad, but it kills Jace times 2. You're talking about Demonic Pact? Is that what Cat Pact is? Not up with you kids' lingo these days. That's a terrible card to draw into at the moment. It was good against Jace, but double Kolaghan's Command is definitely not what we're looking for. Not the droids we were looking for. I'm just going to throw off a flow right now. Really risky for him to throw out a tutelage, knowing that alright, he doesn't respect the Anguished Unmaking, but ends up being the right play because I don't have it. So, again, we'll throw off some Wild Slashes. But here comes the Milltown. A lot of times that's all they have to do is just resolve the Sphinx's tutelage and one turn double. Yeah, I don't think this is happening. Too bad I don't have any way to use Delve. There's a Nahiri, one of the answers. Did find another land, which is good. The Kolaghan's command is going to be used right away. Smoldering Marsh can come out. I don't think there's any point to. But close. We almost got there. I don't think I can kill before I get milled. Because Tormenting Voice into Treasure Cruise. And that should be enough. Or even Cathartic Reunion. So, Lightning Strike, Kolaghan's Command. That's the best case scenario is another Kolaghan's Command. Fiery Impulse. And we lost. We lost, boys. We lost. Womp womp. All right, like I said, that matchup is nearly impossible. But the good news is I don't expect going up against Sphinx's tutelage decks that often. And especially if you get past like round 1 or 2 of a tournament, they're not going to be a thing. The Jamoka's Command is something that's incredibly good versus Sphinx's tutelage. There is even cards, if I really did worry about this matchup, we could bring in Anguished Unmaking or even Fragmentize. Fragmentize does Sorcery Speed kill the Sphinx's tutelage. Natural State kills it. Too much hate. With cards that are just going to be played right now for Install Artifact and Smuggler's Copter. But anywho. Alrighty, we'll look over one more of the deck list. See if Anguished Unmaking, it could go in here. This is just a metagame call at the moment, looking at the decks that I see the most on MTG Goldfish. So Commune comes in versus the control decks. Incredibly good card, instant speed, gets you back. It keeps up with the dig through times and the treasure cruises. Virulent Plague's in here for the Tarka Reds if they're the token versions, or any other. There are actually some black-white tokens type decks every now and again that Virulent Plague will do good against. It does good against Crypt Breaker, and it does good against Waste Not, for example. Anything that tries to win with creature tokens, this is just kind of a silver bullet versus those decks. The Hallowed Moonlight is specifically in here for the Rally of the Ancestors and the Coco decks. And Radiant Flames is probably the card that's most likely could be cut, just because it's kind of redundant. I mean, do you really need to bring in Authority Consuls and 3 Radiant Flames? I mean, at that point, what do you take out in the sideboard? Because all of these are very relevant versus matchups like that. But, anywho, I'll go over any of your questions that I have. We have 8 minutes. I'll give you 8 minutes for any questions regarding anything. Channel related, most likely. We're not going to get into the deeper, darker side of my philosophies on life and whatnot. Tasty, I don't think I could do another game. I'll definitely pass out. But I will answer questions till 8, so 7 more minutes according to my clock. Nothing? What do you think about control deck based on enchantments? Sorry for the repetition. There is some decks that do use the Starfield of Nyx. The problem with that is you're going to run into a lot of enchantment hate that is there to just kill and soul. I do understand you're going to get it back, so there's graveyard hate too. So Tormod's Crypt is a thing. That's another card you can bring in. Tormod's Crypt would probably want to come in versus Sphinx's Tutelage because it can sort of shut down Treasure Cruise. I'm not sure if it'd want to go that route though. Jace and Treasure Cruise. Will we have good numbers at our store for the pre-release? Hopefully. Hopefully we sell out. We sold out of Shadows of Innistrad, did not sell out of Eldritch Moon. So, again, we are a tiny game store. So, Richfield, Utah is about the population of 8,000. We serve the county, Sevier County, Utah, central Utah, has about 20,000. And the surrounding areas, which what we call the greater economic influence of Richfield, is about 30,000 that it serves. So, in any direction, 100 miles, Richfield's the biggest city. So that's what we've got going for us. So we do get people that drive in for pre-releases and things like that. The bad news is that it's not, I don't think that we're really at the threshold you need to support a game store to the level that we'd want it to. Again, we don't make, the store does pay for itself, and we are continue to grow. I'm very proud of what we've been able to establish with our store, starting from literally nothing. Just basically Zach and my collection. And through bartering, how we got most of our, even just like the cases that and the displays, the shelving, the cases, everything like that was done through bartering mainly. And so, anywho, I mean, we have goals, we have plans to increase our game store size, but I don't know exactly how much that would translate into a bigger play group. So, our Frontier tournament is 12 people. I believe that last week we had one with 12 and one with 9, I believe, on our 2 FNMs. And so that's decent. That's definitely decent for a store like Richfield. And it was fun, and they're competitive. We have a great group going with. There's 3 people in chat right now that come to my store, 3 or 4 kids that should be in bed. But anywho, I hope we sell out. We still have a lot left. How often do I stream? Once in a blue moon, and it must be a blue moon. Where is a blue moon, by the way? I need a blue moon. Too far away. Fridge is too far. So anywho, let's go. What's another one? How do you feel about the elf that was just spoiled? You're talking about which elf? There's a bunch of elf. The Revolt elf, the one that became a 4/3 on turn 2. Absolutely love it. It's going to replace the pig out of Zoo. The one that gets haste for a red. If you control a mountain, it becomes a 3/3. I think it's just better. What are the odds of Wizards creating a Frontier League option on MTGO? Make them. Hold them accountable. Tell Wizards that you want one, and they'll do it. If not, I'm going to try to make one. Let's start. See this chat channel here? I want to start a chat room called just... so you can join a new chat session, and then you can create a new one called a chat room. Let's see. Create... Oh, here we go. So hashtag Frontier. If we can keep this going, I think this would be a good place to get the play group going. So chat room Frontier. We can try to resurrect clans. Clans are so bad. MTGO is just a pile of the software is horrid as far as just the social aspect of it. It is so bad. They really need to spend some money on the damn program. And I'm not talking about like even upgrading the interface. I'm just talking about like the things that 1990s games were addressing, like chat rooms. And I mean, this is pathetic. This is pathetic, beyond pathetic, how it's set up. So anywho, just keep trying to push him to start the Frontier format, and it will get supported. Get your local game store to support it. We support it. And a bunch of people think I'm a dirty speculator, just trying to push cards. Absolutely not. The kids in the chat room can attest. Our standard and our modern was dead. It was absolutely dead. We have a person that plays Infect every time. We have a person that plays Ad Nauseam every time, and it just got incredibly boring seeing the exact same decks over and over in Modern, especially when they're uninteractive, unfair decks. And then we have a bunch of tryhards in Standard that are just going to play the top deck, so Aetherworks, Marvel, UI Flash over and over and over and over again. and that's all they're going to play. They're never going to, I'm okay with net decking. I'm not a person that's going to go on this rant about why you shouldn't net deck. In fact, I need to do a video on it. I mean, I said at the beginning of the stream when people asked me if there was a Frontier deck I would play right now, I said I'd probably just, if there was like a PPTQ or a Pro Tour that I was playing in, maybe I'd just go safe with the Tarka Red. It's proven. I feel comfortable playing it. And even though it's a tier 1 or a net deck, it doesn't mean you shouldn't play at a competitive game. However, at your local game store playing against a bunch of kids that have maybe $50 to spend on a deck, playing U-White Flash is probably not the best thing to do, in my opinion. And I spiked it up big time. I built Marvel just to, every time that this happens, I'll really spike it up just to kind of teach these guys a lesson. And play more of the tier decks, so then they can play against I would say, I wouldn't put myself as like a tier 1 competitive player, but definitely a tier 2 competitive player. So my skill level is quite above, just the amount of experience alone that I have against these players is quite above what I'd say their low level of play is. So if I play a really, really powerful deck, they're not going to have a shot at it. And I've kind of, what's the proper term, cock blocked? I guess that's not the proper term, but 3 game days in a row by just making sure that I won the game day to prevent specific people from winning the game day. So anywho, where was I at here? Okay, what do you think would have won that final game during the last standard showdown? Aetherworks or Temur Metallurgic Summonings? Oh, your standard showdown versus... Did we play Thanimal? I thought you beat me playing Aetherworks Marvel. Oh, yeah, we drew. I'm not sure. I wasn't playing Marvel Thanimal. I was playing like Angel Marvel, which is definitely not as competitive as Marvel. But I don't know. Well, I usually Control has a pretty decent matchup against it. But congratulations on your win there, Than. Just gone from a Frontier tournament, 34 people. Richie, what were some of the breakdowns? I'd love to hear the breakdowns. Have your local game store publish the results. We're gonna try to figure out a way on Rogue Deck Builder. We brought on a new programmer. Her name is Mara. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Mara, and she's created a deck list, a way to create deck lists on Rogue Deck Builder. We just haven't implemented it. I'm going to talk to Greg on Wednesday, and we're going to try to get it all worked out. And then if your local game store can just upload it, I'll give you a place. Tapped Out, I believe you can upload it as well. But I'd like to really get this Frontier scene going as far as internet is concerned, with more data just from a few sources that MTG Goldfish uses. So have them, see if you can pressure them to get deck lists and publish that information, because 34 is significant. All right, so do you think you should be able to... Oh, man, this always... Where was I? Do you think we should be able to redeem paper for digital cards? That'd be tough. Your local game stores will somehow have to destroy them, but that's terrible. The online cards are so volatile. The best thing they can do is offer a code just like Pokemon does. That's the best way. Which Kalitas standard decks translate well into Frontier? Vehicles. Vehicles do very well. We actually, two of our Frontier tournaments were actually taken down by a black-red aggro deck, and the only card that they were splashing was Lightning Strike. That was it. And that person should have been, and it was a little kid, by the way, and that's just the sheer power, how quick the Reckless Bushwhacker strategies can actually take over. All right. What's wrong with playing UI at the shop? Come on. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just pathetic going to these kids that have like $40 decks. Kevin, how do you feel about if Frontier gets supported by Wizards that instantly ban fetches? I feel like that'd make the format more fun to keep the Delve cards and Jason check. Scott, I like the fetches, just personally, because there's so many things you can do with fetches. They're a very versatile card. And I think that the Eternal formats, most people that play the Eternal formats like good mana. And I think that fetch lands provide that. Yes, there are decks that you could easily play 3-color decks. I actually think that fetch lands like 3-color rather than 4-color. When you're in 4-color, I like this combos. The Battlefield Forges, Inspiring Vantage type cards. And that way, because fetch lands aren't as good and versatile as they are in Modern, because we don't have the complete cycle of dual lands right now, and we don't have the complete cycle of fetch lands either. So it makes it very, very awkward for 4-color decks to get the right type of cards out on the right time with fetch lands. So I think the better way is just to rely on dual lands to do it, or even tri-lands. But for right now, I personally like the fetch lands. To each his own. I don't think they need a ban, because they offer the same advantage to each deck. And Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time aren't that oppressive right now. I fought through 3 Dig Through Times. I don't think that it's that big of a deal. Alright, so all the modules from Kalitas, Pyromancer, Healy, Whirlverse. Will they rename Frontier to like EDH with Commander? I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Esper Control was huge. Jeskai, Flash, Abzan, good stuff. Esper Control was big, huh? Thanks. Jeskai Flash, so they running just the UI Flash with more like Mantis Riders to kind of turn the tables, possibly? So Mr. Rancid, most people couldn't even get rid of their standard decks. That was what was the problem with Kaladesh. It bottomed out, or not Kaladesh, Konstantar here. It bottomed out so fast that people didn't even sell the cards. It wasn't worthwhile to sell their Siege Journals for 50 cents a piece. So people just kept on to them. I'm going to ask a stupid question. What is Frontier? Frontier is M15 forward. So any set after the new card frame. And it is pretty fun. I like it a lot. Yeah, Richie, if your shop ever does want to at least like link it places, I'm definitely up for it. Just let them know that. All right, my website is pretty much dead at the moment. That's because I'm not very good at keeping like. We'll go back into personality theory. ENFP is my personality type. I know a lot of people think Myers-Briggs is nothing but astrology. I tend to disagree. It was a pretty big focal point of some of the psychology courses I took. And even companies, I worked for American Express, by the way, or once upon a time, and Myers-Briggs was something they'd actually do like retreats and things like that, and they have on like a lot of their HR was actually trained in MBTI. So if corporations actually think it's helpful, then there must be something to it. And scientifically, psychology is a pseudoscience. So you can't prove anything with as you can in like hard sciences. So it's all based on observable behaviors. And MBTI is all about observing behaviors and then categorizing them, clumping them, grouping them. And anywho, I'm an ENFP, and one of our Achilles' heels is finishing follow-through with projects. We're terrible. I'm a great idea generator. I'm a terrible follow-through. So I'm hoping to find some yin for my yang, and that's why I got Greg and hopefully some other people that are involved that can kind of keep me on track and keep me with my projects. So for my New Year's resolutions, I'm trying to incorporate more of the site and really going more full-fledged into the community aspect of it. I've kind of been a loan shark for a while. We did have some like huge chasms happening in the community. If you guys remember, I had kind of a falling out with some of the other YouTubers. That's happened multiple times. And I've done a pretty decent job of mending some relationships. I think I'm in pretty good speaking terms with Smoldering Community College now, but I don't think that I'll ever be on speaking terms again with Wedge from the Mana Source. But I do want to get back to collaborations and community building and things like that, and just kind of move forward from all that. But so that was my whole goal with Rogue Deck Builder, was not to be just kind of this lone. That's why I always say this is Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. I don't just say, hey, this is Rogue Deck Builder. I don't like refer to myself as the Rogue Deck Builder that often, because I do want to branch out. I do want more people to be involved with it. Then it can be like, hey, this is Jeff from Rogue Deck Builder, or or Greg, or all these other people producing content, and it's just not me doing it. So anywho, I don't know where I was going with that. All right, so Fetches are too expensive. Yeah, I agree, Snowpig. Hopefully we get some reprints. They should have put it in the damn commander decks. Twice in a row they should have done it in commander decks. We had enemy-colored commanders last year, and then we had multicolored commanders this year. And what do? They print cards like this. God, Wizards is stupid. Fairy Miscreant deck is pretty sweet. I think people are like, why play that trash? Because it's a great card. It's a great card to get the Smuggler's Copters online. Did I miss any questions? Yeah, have I played against any Frontier Marvel decks? Yes. A person, Zach actually played one. Zach, my business partner, played one 3 weeks ago. And then another guy played one last week with a Marvel. And I was playing a Reanimator deck. You want to see it? Hey, we'll talk some more. I'm actually okay talking. I was falling asleep playing the game, but talking seems to be reinvigorated. Where was my Frontier? How about here? Frontier. Did I ever build it on this? Yes, I did. Huh. Oh, I know what I saved it as. All right, this is the deck I played, which is incredibly janky, but it's fun, and I beat him with it. It was pretty fun to beat Marvel. It's whoever could get Degenerate quicker, and I was able to get Degenerate quicker. The deck was updated. Sylvan Advocates aren't the greatest in this deck. Explosive Vegetation are really good, and Tasker and Grimog Anglers and the other one are extremely good with Cathartic Reunion. You can dredge and get Anglers or Tassigers. Tassiger and the Monkey are a lot better than Angler just because it works perfectly off of like Tormenting Voice and Fetch lands. You can get Delve 7 is actually a lot harder in this deck than Delve 6. So basically you just try to get a Tasker or an Angler and then see the Unwritten, often the explosive. So turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and then see the Unwritten. And then if you can establish a Dragonlord Kolaghan a Tarka World Render, it's 24 double strike damage. And I got a few people. Did I go 2-2? I think I went 2-2 with the deck. I can't remember what I lost to. Rally the Ancestors twice. That's what it was. I lost to Rally twice. 2 different Rally decks. But this is a fun deck. Well, the fetch lines right now are starting to go back up. I think they bottomed out. We had fetches. The lowest one was under $11. It's now recovered to about $12. And I think they're only going to go up with Frontier. Wizards has not publicly acknowledged Frontier. Didn't they have something on the mothership with it? I don't think they have yet, but Channel Fireball has. Dakota, who knows when I'll be able to... The best thing to do if you have your own YouTube channel is to create your own YouTube channel and start doing videos. And then you can we can publish it on roguedeckbuilder.com. I have no problems with that. The more content, the merrier. For there, and then I can do collaborations. That's the best way to do that. My Rogue Deck Builder channel will probably always be me, just me. The website though, it will incorporate everyone that's kind of in the umbrella of Rogue Deck Builder. That's kind of the idea of it. Well, Brick, yeah, I know. I understand that they were what they were wanting. The Commander decks had so much value in them. I think at the time of the release of the Commander set, it had like over $400 of cards in just a ton of $5 range cards. And now they underprinted it. And you can't, they lied to us too. This is what I'm very frustrated. If you haven't seen like Rudy's video or even Darium CCG's video about it, or did Darium's do one about Eternal Masters? That's what he did. But Rudy's Alpha Investments did one about how I was in the same boat. He basically ordered a ton of Commander to give to his patrons for that month, thinking that he could reorder and he'd be fine for his own store or his own whatever Rudy does with all his mass stockpiles and stuff he buys. And then Wizards like, yeah, you can reorder. We're just out temporarily. We have another printing coming through. And then lo and behold, we call back 2 weeks later saying, all right, we're ready to reorder. And Wizards like, nope, not going to happen. We're out. And it was just complete. Imagine if I would have pre-sold a ton of them. with kind of Wizards guarantee that they'd be in print. Because we actually tried to order some. It was just like 2 weeks after the release of the format. And we tried to just order some. They said, no, you can only have this amount. And so we kind of got like stuck for how many we can actually buy with our kind of first buy, or our actually second order of kind of the commanders. Because we don't have a lot of capital in our shop. So how it works is we buy stuff, we spend all of our money. We buy what we can. It sells out, we replenish our money, and then we reorder. That's kind of the stage we're in our, we don't have this mass stockpile of money that we can just invest in it now and again. So we have to do it in spurts. And so by the time that we sold our initial commander to then do the reorder of it, Wizards said no. And it was just complete utter BS. So anywho. Where am I at? Richie, have him, yeah, let's see. Email me, Richie, roguedeckbuilder@gmail.com. I don't think I have time to, like, tab out and do their Facebook page. That'd be the best way to get information with them. Kevin, are you going to put Frontier gameplay on the channel? Snowpig, this will be on the channel, and I'll try to stream some more. Maybe we'll stream, I won't stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Yes, Kat, go back to our video. Are you able to play Frontier on MTGO? Go back in the video and I'll show you how to do it. The very, very first of the video. Once the stream is done. I don't know if you can go back on streams. I don't know how YouTube works. Twitch you can. And we did play some games. I'm just answering questions right now because I was falling asleep playing the games. And, yep, Frontier gameplay will go on the channel. Well, okay, this is a little bit of a no conspiracy theory. Like, a lot of people were trying to assume, I don't know, that I had a contract with Gathering Magic. I've had a couple people, like, put comments saying, hey, I understand that you have a contract with Gathering Magic and you can't post gameplay. No, that's not true. Here's the thing. My time between the shop, between coaching swim team, I had to prioritize. I had to prioritize if I was going to do gameplay, it was for Gathering Magic. I already made commitments to them, and so if I was going to bust out like any gameplay, I would do it for them, unless it was done that week, and then I would focus on my own channel. So that was the first thing, was just a time issue. Second thing is YouTube rolled out a new algorithm for, I think it doesn't work this way anymore because channels like Desolator and Lion are really benefiting right now from the new algorithm. But the old algorithm was killing channels, especially old channels, that if you produced a ton of content, so say you produced 6 videos in one day and only 10% of your viewers watched all 6, it would bump you down and say, okay, obviously all your subscribers are not interested in your content, therefore we're not going to show you on the feed anymore. And so what was happening is channels like Gathering Magic and all these other gameplay channels were releasing a lot of gameplay, like all the individual games, and YouTube was seeing that, oh, people aren't interested in it because only Gathering Magic actually has like a formula. They say like 55% of people watch the first video out of all the subscribers, so or they have like a percentage, and then that about 30% drop off after each video. By the time it was to the wrap-up video, there was only a minority of people actually getting to the wrap-up video. So say, for example, the first video would get 8,000 views, the second would get 5,000 views, the third would get 3,500, the fourth would get 2,000, the last would get 500. Well, YouTube would see that last 500 and that last 2,000 views and be like, oh, no one wants to watch this. Apparently they don't like this channel. And even though a ton of people watched the previous videos to it, YouTube was doing this percentile thing, and it was killing channels that did gameplay. And so that was another reason I kind of shied away from gameplay at the time, because it was really dumping on my channel, which, you know, I never did this for the big bucks. YouTube is terrible money. When I heard that like Desolator and Alpha Investors make the type of money they make, I'm like, damn, they must get a much better ad representation than I do, because the price that I get per cost per click or cost per is terrible. YouTube ad revenue is not good. So anywho, but still, just for exposure-wise, the gameplay was definitely pushing the channel down. So those are the two reasons why gameplay's kind of fallen off. Main is just time constraints, and then B, the algorithm was just not good at the time. The thing about Google is they're always switching their algorithm. They're always switching the way that it works. And right now, it is definitely rewarding the more content, because now it goes by total watch time, which is really, really benefiting these people that constantly just put out videos. So, anywho, we might get back to gameplay if there's a lot of if people want to see it. If not, I still like to do streaming. I think streaming is the best way to get the gameplay. Well, yes, his Patreon, he gets a lot of money for his Patreon, but according to Rudy, he was making like $2K a month on YouTube ad revenue. You can go watch that whole debacle when it got hacked, and that's way more than I get. But then again, he might get like 10 times the views I do. That's one thing that is frustrating with the new YouTube as well, is it is punishing older channels. So older channels have been around a lot. They don't get pushed up. So you see like these brand new channels. So right now is a good time to make a YouTube channel. You make a YouTube channel, you get popular right off the bat, it will really push you up. And it will rank your videos higher than other videos, and just because you're new and fresh. And so a channel like mine that's been around for over 3 years, it gets kind of tough to get your content out there, except for kind of like loyal subscribers and things like that. So I know that like people like Clarion Community College and the Mana Source are obsessed with these type of things. I've never really been like, my videos are so poor quality, low quality stuff. Sometimes I just point and shoot and upload the video and whatnot. So I'm looking into taking some classes and just getting better at video editing, but it's just not my forte. It's worse than like doing dishes, editing videos. I can't stand it. So I guess that's a bad analogy. I'd rather I like the personality of being a content producer. I hate the editing. So Twitch, I don't know what people have the preference for, Twitch or YouTube. I know there's a way to import your Twitch back onto YouTube. I'll look into Twitch. I think that mainly I'm a YouTuber. I might as well just YouTube until I get to the Twitch. Congrats, Tasty! The first 500 milestone. I hit mine very, very quickly, the first 500, just because one of my videos kind of went viral as far as Magic is concerned. I think I was the only one doing an Epic Experiment deck at the time, and it got like 2,000 views, and I was like super, super stoked that one of my first videos just got that many views in that short amount of... And that was big for the time being. That was back when like there were very few Magic channels, and it bumped me up very quickly, but it's been a grind. In fact, this month I've actually lost subscribers. I think I'm down like 88 subscribers this month. Colton, I don't think that Wedge and I will ever be cool again. I'll just put that out there. I don't want to start crap or ever bring stuff up, but there's just a point you get with people where it's just never gonna happen. It's kind of funny because Clarion Community College and I had a chat one day after my video that I made, and he's like, "Well, I think we're both being kind of pulled in opposite directions. My alliances were kind of pushing me against his group, and his alliances were kind of pushing me against my group, even though I still claim I don't have a group. But anywho, I think we both got played, and then we just basically agreed to that he's going to continue to always be good friends with Wedge, and I'm going to continue to be good friends with MGG headquarters, and people are going to hate that, and whatever. But I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to punish him for his friendships, and I hope he doesn't punish me for my friendships too, because Jeremy gained a ton of respect from me. Jeremy MTGO HQ is someone I've had problems with in the past, and he has been nothing but kind to me when he didn't need to be, for no reason. I'm a nobody in the scope of things, and he's had my back, and I may not agree with everything the guy has to say or the way he says stuff, but he's been friendly to me, and we all have those friends anyway. Don't you dare tell me you don't have that friend that you're just like, oh my god, no, he just did not just say that, do that. Here we go. And for a lot of my friends, I'm that person. So yeah, I'm the person that likes to kind of to play the devil's advocate and troll for trolling's sake type thing. So again, I think that we've both been punished for each other's friendships. But as far as what happened between Wedge and me, that's incredibly personal. Like it's something I don't like to dwell on, or even it's just something that I think you come to a point with a person you never ever want to have anything to do with them again, and that's the point that I got to. So I hope, I'm glad he's doing well. His channel's taken off. It seems like he's made it to the point where it sustains him. where it's his full-time gig, and that's good. Kudos to him. It's just nothing that I could care less to ever be associated with him, or be in the same room or be in the same anything ever again with the guy. So we'll just put that out there. Yeah, Tasty Snacky, PewDiePie is a great example. Just old channels or just get really hurt by just existing. But Brick, Epic Experiment, Google it. It's a great card. The card is insanely bonkers fun. But it was a standard deck at the time. Any other questions? What are we at? We're over half an hour more than I said I was going to be on. But one more plug for Tasty. The moderator here, Tasty has a great channel. I love his content. He's a funny guy. He's also a nice guy to interact with on MTG Amino apps. That's an app for your smartphone users. Highly suggest you check it out. Not being sponsored. They sponsored me one time back in February, but I've just had a lot of fun interacting with Tasty and D-Manny and a few other people. Who else is in our group? Yeah. And that's where I got to know the guy, and through his channel. I think Tasty, I randomly saw a video. I can't remember what random video that I stumbled upon. And it was it was just one of your satire videos, and I laughed at it. I think it was criticizing Wizards on one of them. You can call me Sorcerer. You can call me whatever you want. I've been called plenty of names. Confusion. Or Confusion. Confusion, Anthony's Wedge from the Mana Source. People just know people by their first name basis. I'm Kevin. There, of course, is another Kevin, Darium CCG. A lot of us were... I'm actually one of the old-timers of the YouTube. Tulane Community College, Mana Source, even Darium CCG. All those came after I was already pretty well established. I think I already had my sponsorships and everything at that time. And so we all became friends through YouTube. And then there was some drama. And then drama led to more drama. And then more drama led to more drama that led to more drama. And that's just kind of been the history. Right now, though, the drama seemed to be completely died down. But it inevitably will happen. And so I've tried to stay out of it. But it's just... And of course, it affects content producers when they're trying to collaborate and do things. And then you get, one person gets rubbed the wrong way. And then the next person, it just causes a chain reaction. Would you consider taking suggestions for some Frontier decks to showcase? Absolutely, but let's wait until the website is viable. Once I get the website up and running, we're going to do a Rogue Master Brewer for both, probably both Standard and Frontier. So be looking forward to that. I've been terrible, and this is another New Year's resolution of mine, and I apologize to everyone in 2016 that sent me an email that I didn't answer. I went and cleaned out my inbox when was it? New Year's Eve. I think we were sitting around at the game store, and I had like 1,500 unread messages. And I went through and like cleaned a bunch. I'm like, man, I'm a jackass. Look at all these people that I tried to get as many as possible, but it's hard to keep up when you have Twitter, Facebook, email. People were even sending me deck lists on Puka Trade at one point in time, and it got very overwhelming. But for 2017, I'm going to try to do a better job answering emails. So if you've had an email in the past month or two, I'm going to try to go back and answer those within the next few days. Otherwise, if it's been even further back than that, I apologize. Anyway. Thanks, Alex. Hopefully I do an okay job live. I know it's been kind of boring just answering questions, but want to see some other Frontier decks before we close this out? Some other crap I'm working on. Frontier Impact. What's this monstrosity? Impact Tremors. Yeah, this is pretty much self-explanatory. Thopter Engineer. Horde the Outburst. This seems viable. Pia. This is a card I've always thought was interesting. Dash, it gains its power and toughness, or power equal to how many creatures you have, so it will count itself and something else. So it's a pretty good dash cost. I've always liked dash. I think this wants more Zergos, though. Here's a budget deck, though. I think I was going to do this for playing on a budget, actually. Can't get more budget than this. Other than Rabble Masters, we could even cut the Rabble Masters. This is a $1 card, a 70-cent card, 50-cent card, nothing card, nothing, 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 nothing. I think this is down to like nothing. And then all basic mountains in a Westvale Abbey. Seems like a fun one. What is Jeskai tokens? Oh, not even close to being done. It's Jeskai tokens with 29 cards. And Thing of the Ice in the sideboard. And Weaver. I think this is underrated in Frontier. I think it's only a matter of time before Weaver starts getting played, especially versus like a Tarka. It's a great card versus those type of decks. It's just called MTG Amino. I think. I found it pretty easy just searching for Magic. Silver for Partisan. Whatever happened to that deck? I'll have to find it. Oh, this is a cool idea. Look how many constructs are in Frontier, and then Chief Engineer. So, do you know Scuddling Doom Engine's a construct? Or Obelisk of Erd can name constructs, and Noxious Gearhulk is a construct, and Foundry Inspector is a construct, and Chief of the Foundry is a construct, and Scrappy Scrounger is a construct. Whew. Prototype, which can easily crew a Skysilver and Consuls flagship, is also a construct. Construct Tribals. You saw it here first. RogueDeckBuilder.com. See, I can advertise pretty well. Who wants to hire me? I'll pump up your brand. And Soul Aggro. What was I doing with this monstrosity? That's a boring list if I ever saw one. Oh, this one with the... No? Yeah. Okay, these ones with the dashes are ones that I used for video. These weren't my list. These were ones that actually won tournaments. That I was talking about how to... My guide to sideboard. Yep. And Soul Aggro. Tarka Red. Boring. Frontier Abzan. This deck has so many options, so many different routes to go. Is Talmadge still on? How bad did... I can't remember how Talmadge did on his... He ran this deck at our Frontier tournament. Don't know how well it did it. How well it did for him. Yeah, I don't know what happened to these other front... Where's my Frontier Waste Not deck? It's definitely not these. Oh, look at that. Waste Not Unearthed for Modern. It's a card I always wanted to get to work in Modern. So the Spectre seems really cool with Waste Not. You unearth it for 2 mana, so that means if they discard a land, that gives you the 2 mana and unearth this Sidraxis Spectre. And so if you do something like Burning Inquiry on turn 2, they discard a land, you get the Spectre, you unearth it, it gains haste, attack it, they discard another card. Pretty sweet little combo. Snapcasters. Of course, this is not Frontier, we're looking at Modern. Just some random decks I've tried to build. Yeah, this card's way too cool not to see play. Man. 3 mana for 3/2 flying that when they discard a card when it hits with Unearth. This card is stupid cool. Tasty, I love the new... it got spoiled right after I did my Market Monday video, my spoiler video. But it's really good. It's... New spoiler just came out, huh? I'm too lazy. I'll cover it in a video. This is another card that I always thought was pretty stupid with Waste Not. Since you're discarding your own cards, called the Netherworld. Murderous Cut. Big Game Hunter, another Madness. Madness 1. Another card for Waste Not, type of self-mill, So Burning Inquiry, Waste Not type deck. Dark Deal. Dark Deal works with it as well. This deck hasn't been updated, of course, forever. This is a cool list. I like this deck. You can see in how many decks I brewed over the years. What happened to my stupid deck for... Oh, is this... No, this is definitely not Frontier. This is a Waste Not Dredge. Fun. So you try to dredge and dredge. So Burning Inquiry, Faithless Looting. Just so Waste Not's not your prime target. Trying to get Vengevine? Seems bad. Seems really bad. Always trying to upgrade this deck, Vidalcan Artificers. This is speaking of the new card that you name a creature type, this would work out really well. To name Artificers or Vidalcans. And that way all these will come in with +1/+1 counters. Not bad, not bad. If I could create a Magic card, what would it be? I've created some in the past. Now I can't think of what they are. It'd be black. I am a black player. That is my favorite card for sure. I was happy with Waste Not. I'll get back to you on that. Ornithopter did get a reprint as a masterpiece. Tainted Remedy, I know that that Tyler, my first opponent in this, second opponent in today's matchups, has a Tainted Remedy. You can actually go check out roguedeckbuilder.com to see his Frontier Tainted Remedy list. This is a Tainted Remedy deck that failed miserably, I'm sure. What if these end up in free form, any of these Waste Not type decks? Huh. See if there's anything that say Frontier in this. Nope. What happened to my Waste Not deck? That's the deck that I want to build in Frontier. I need to delete a bunch of these. It's always fun looking back at some decks, though. Going back and seeing what I've come up with in the past. A bunch of decks that have failed. Almost were there. Anywho, Waste Not. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Here's the Frontier Waste Not deck that I ran. Probably does want the Zombie Tribal. What do you think of Gravity Bomb deck made by Desolator? Not a clue what that is. Not a clue. How you make a Teamer deck. There was a Teamer deck that did quite well. MTG Goldfish has a Teamer Flash list. I think Teamer's pretty well positioned. A lot of powerful cards. Really like Green-Red Energy to be just morphed into Frontier. So you still have that card, the Converge card, that is still Frontier playable. And you have the Hardened Scales. You need to add in a deck like that. Aetherflux combo. Ornithopter gets played within Soul Artifact in Frontier quite often. I think I did put Frontier deck in the name so I could find it. The problem is some of them have these exclamation marks, meaning you still need cards, and that's why I was looking at the ones that still needed cards. Here's a deck I want to play. This deck seems pretty quick. This interaction is an interaction that I'm very just salivating to get to work. The Insolent Neonate into Liliana Heretic Healer. Yeah, but Ornithopter is confirmed. Okay. So it's in there. So Ornithopter, it's good with Bushwhacker-ish. There's not a lot of ways to really utilize the Ornithopter at this point. You can hook it up to some equipments. I don't think my equipment deck would want it. Here is the deck. Didn't we win this competition? Thank you very much, Tasty, for the amino apps. I just kind of threw this. I didn't really edit it much either. Probably would want some main board removal. Not quite sure how well or how necessary Elvish Mystic is in here. Maybe with this being main board removal instead. Just interact with your opponent. But you do want something to do on turn 1. I was thinking the servo generator would be pretty good in here too. The 1-drop servo. Well, he creates servos. It's a fun little one. Yeah, Winding Constriction with Hardened Scales does seem okay. A lot of times it's fighting with your 2-drop, which is probably pretty important in a Hardened Scales deck. But everyone's talking about the Constrictor with energy strategies. Waste Not Aetherflux Reservoir. It could work. Definitely could. I think you can put links in the chat. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how YouTube works. Revoltism is pretty cool. Well, you got to think of Revolt as just Morbid 2.0. That's all it is. It means you can sacrifice clues to get the revolt to work. My green-black Cryptolith tokens have been popping up at F&M, huh? That deck did really well for me. Unfortunately, it's like nearly impossible to beat Marvel. So I don't know if you'd play it right now. And U-White Flash is pretty 50-50, and green-black Delirium is impossible to beat. But green-black Delirium has basically gone extinct and been replaced with green-black Aggro, which is impossible to lose to. So there's that. Like, green-black tokens does very well against vehicles, extremely good against vehicles. Vehicles, red-black aggro is really good against. The tough matchups that I had with green-black servos or green-black Cryptolith Right was green-black Delirium. That was nearly impossible to win. Aetherflux Marvel and Prized Amalgam. Prized Amalgam decks were also decks that could get a little bit tough for me to beat because they had a lot of... Oh, and the Metalwork Colossus, which you don't see that deck ever... the decks it did very well against was the control decks, the blue control decks, just because you could outvalue them. And it did very well against vehicles, any aggro and control, it did very well against. And then U-White, it was pretty 50-50, whoever got the best draws. SRAM in the Equipment Storm deck, absolutely, drawing a bunch of cards off of that. So you're just running the Cathar Shield and the, isn't that the one that's legal right now? The 0-drop 0-3. +0/+3, and then the bone splinter, and then yeah, just draw a bunch of cards and then get a paradoxical outcome, all of them back. Yeah, that actually is pretty insane with the Aetherflux Reservoir. Yeah, bone saw on the shield. Yep. But I love Revolt. So far, I like the mechanics. The new Convoke, whatever they call it. What is the... For artifacts, I think is pretty significant because you got to think like Prophetic Prism type cards. Eggs type shells can now tap for mana or at least help cast other cards. And so I think Eggs 2.0 is going to be a thing in Modern. Tron gets a lot better as well. But I don't know, I'm talking about Modern. I'll probably play Modern. Every time Modern becomes a little bit fresh, I'll play it. I'm still the main thing that's keeping me back from Modern is not really the decks or the players, it's Wizards. It's Wizards, they're kind of turning the blind eye. They're releasing Modern Masters 3, just releasing it. How dumb of a company can you get when your previous two best GPs ever were on the releases of Modern Masters? And then this time they're just too lazy. They're just like, oh, whatever. We'll just release it. So I'm just, it's almost like a protest against Wizards. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I really am dying for some new blood over at Wizards. Just some people that, look how well Hearthstone community has done, just their community management has done. Even other games like League of Legends and Dota especially have very great community management. And even games that are less known than Wizards have much better community management. So I just think it's time for people to find some people that actually want to do a good job for Wizards and balance formats and create hype and make good tournaments. What I want to see is a Modern Masters championship. So instead of having it associated with the Pro Tour, because everyone whines about the Pro Tour being anything but standard, we can do like just specific Modern. They can do it for Legacy too and hold one at the end of the year. Give pro points out for it just like anything else. So it can actually qualify towards Pro Tours, but have it be a higher scale than Grand Prix. And it can be self-funded. Dota is 100% self-funded. The what they call the T1s or the internationals, all those type of tournaments in the Dota are actually paid by the community. The community actually pays into the system. So what I suggest they do is bring back player rewards type cards that where you play in your local scenes that adds money that actually goes to a pot to actually pay for this end level tournament. And then they can just, Wizards effectively has the ability to print money through cards, through promotional cards and things like that. So it'd be a win-win. Yeah, Hearthstone, the problem with Hearthstone is it's just an inferior game to Magic. It is. It's not a game that is just as complex as Magic will ever be. And so it's fun to play, but it's just missing that competitiveness that I think, or just the experience, and people I'm sure will disagree. But what makes Hearthstone so beautifully done is it's a Blizzard game. And when has Blizzard failed at really anything? Blizzard was my first love of video games. It was Warcraft 2 that really got me hooked to gaming. It's the first thing that changed me from a filthy casual to a competitive person. Because before that, I was playing games like Final Fantasy. And then when I was introduced to Warcraft 2, I started actually playing competitive Warcraft 2. Yeah, it shows how old I am. And then I really got into StarCraft to the point that I tried to go pro. Tried in parentheses, just because it wasn't really an option at the time. And then after that, I just love competitive gaming. So you got to give it to Blizzard. They've ran games successfully forever now, since their very first Warcraft 2 hit the scene. Yeah, Coleman, the same thing. It's exactly it. It doesn't feel like you interact. I noticed that, I haven't played much Hearthstone. I've watched it be played. I've actually not played it much. So what really turned me off to Hearthstone was how quickly the streamers were playing. I'm like, okay, if they can play that quickly, it's not that in-depth of a game because there's just no decision to be made if they can just click, 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 click. And so look at Magic, how I actually make a lot of play mistakes because I'm impatient, especially on a computer setting. In paper Magic, I'm a lot better, keeping patient and thinking through what I have to do. When I'm either streaming is miserable. I make tons of play mistakes, or recording, I'm trying to keep the tempo or the flow going, and I make tons of play mistakes because you can't play Magic fast. You need to. Day 9 says it best. He came from a StarCraft background where making the wrong decision quickly is still better than making no decision at all. So it's hard to get out of that mentality when I'm on a computer of not making a decision at instant speed because I'm a StarCraft and a Dota player. So, anywho. I've tried Remorseless Punishment for sure for Standard. Remorseless Punishment went in a Seasons Past deck, and it was kind of my finisher. But I haven't done one for a while. Anywho, well, I've got an entire hour over what I've said. I think I'm going to call it since I do have to get up early in the morning and whatnot. But this is fun. I'll try to stream again. I would say send me your deck list for Frontier and whatnot, and I'll look over them. But let's hold off on that till I get the website up, and then we're going to try to have a way that we can just submit decks to the website, so you can actually just communicate with me over that, and then it's a win-win because we can start actually building some data for the Frontier format. I'm all in on Frontier, and no, there's no big conspiracy or my local game people still in the chat. They can tell you we do not have stockpile of cards. I bought 4 Jaces for myself to play with, and we like a customer really wanted them, and then so we sold them, and then they spiked up again the next day, so I'm actually lost money out on Jaces. So anywho, I really enjoy the format. I think it's wide open. It gets better with the more sets. I think that actually Aether Revolt adds a whole new aspect to the Frontier format, giving Black a 1-drop to deal with Jace. And then also the expertise, Yanni's expertise is also a really interesting card in Frontier especially. So anywho, I think I'm going to close it with that. I enjoyed this stream immensely. If you guys like more of the gameplay or the more Q&A type stuff, we'll do a bit of both in my stream. I'll try to mix it up. That I'll talk for a while and then play, then talk, then play, and then we can get that going. So, yep, I'm with you, Zach. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Frontier. After rotation occurs, people are going to be upset with they can't play their standards cards anymore. Smuggler's Copter would be one of those perfect cards that if it didn't have a Frontier format would go from a $10 card, or what is it, $8, $9, $10 down to nothing because it just does not see play. Kind of what Hangerback Walker did. And this gives, what I really like about Frontier is now we have Vintage. Vintage is like the everything goes. The power level of power levels. And then Legacy is just a slightly less Vintage, actually quite a bit less powerful Vintage. And then there was a gap that used to be huge between Modern and Legacy, but now is closing and closing and closing. And so now I think it's time to close the gap between Standard and Modern. The gap between Standard and Modern is huge. It's a chasm. It's a Grand Canyon now. You can't expect to have A, the experience of a Standard player, and B, the card power level of a Standard player and compete in Modern. And so Frontier is a great merging from Standard to Frontier to Modern. And I think that people are like, well, what about in 5 years? Well, do we have to create another format then? Sure. but it just shows that the game has gone on long enough to actually be able to hold that many different formats. I think that people are just worried about Frontier overtaking Modern or replacing Modern. So we have a lot of people that are really, really, really set that they love Modern, and Modern's their, their swag, and they're terrified of this Frontier format. I think it started out with the people jaded by tiny leaders, but they don't have that excuse anymore. And so I don't understand the hate. I still get in the comment section a lot of hate about Frontier. A lot of people accusing me of being a filthy speculator that's just trying to cheat people, and they just don't even want to hear my reasonings or hear other people's. They just think it's one big massive conspiracy. But I had fun. I've had fun with all these decks I brewed. It's so wide open. I can go back to some of these old archetypes that I was totally in love with and play them again, and it's just a win-win for everyone. And well, I guess not people that wanted to have cheap, useless cards out of Khans of Tarkir block, I guess. I don't know. The thing that gets me the most are the people crying about the card prices going up and aren't going to play Commander or aren't going to play Frontier anyway. So why cry about prices going up of cards you're never going to buy? Anywho, that's that. Appreciate it. Be looking forward to interacting with you in the future. And hopefully you guys, everyone can, just if you want to enter the community as far as producing videos, I highly encourage creating your own YouTube channel and just going from there. That's the best way to get started with that. All right, I'm going to call it. Thanks for watching.